stuff set up.
Oh, I've started the recording.
Yeah. Okay, no problem. Up to now, there's only Shazia on with me anyway. Yeah.
Yes, I'm on, and then I think Zafar's on. Is Zafar on?
Ah, is it for on?
It says
see him, but
Zafar.
I can't see him. I can only hear him.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I want to look at is, although you completed all your tasks, Shazia, now, haven't you, for Unit 1? Yeah,
I'm struggling with Unit 3, though.
This is what I want. This is what I want to do tonight. Did you get the mail I sent to you?
Yeah, I got your email you sent, and I made the amendments, and I've saved them as Shazia assesses document 1, learner A and B. I've done that, but I just need to know for both of them. Do we need like the feedback sheet and an assessment plan for both?
Yeah. Well, there's a plan on Moodle, so you can use that. But when you do the plan, and this is what I wanted to tell everybody else, just do it for the bit that you're going to be assessing.
Okay.
You don't need to do, if you're doing part of a unit, you don't need the rest of the unit on the plan. You only need the bit that you're doing, say like LO1 or something like that.
Yeah, I'm kind of doing LO1, 1.2, 1.2, and then 1.3, and then the other one I'm doing LO1, 1.1, and then in the assignment, the brief they've sent us, do we need to just submit that what they're doing, or all of it?
That's it, just what they're doing, just on that assessment.
Okay.
Just the criteria for that assessment, that you're going to cover for that. That's what I wanted to cover. There are a couple of things on here that I wanted to look at. This is the main one, the front sheet. This takes you through the stages. What you'll do is you'll develop a bunch of evidence for each of your 2 learners. Yeah.
Okay.
I wanted you to remember, and this is important because on here it says select 2 learners.
Yeah.
Again, it may be useful for one to have a learning issue. Yeah.
Okay.
You choose.
Okay.
The reason for that is that it will ask you how you would modify a learning plan, an assessment plan for a particular learner. Now, if you've not put one of your learners in that situation, then you're going to be stuck a bit, really. Now, if you've already got one that you say is I don't know, whatever you want to choose, he's got a sight issue or a hearing issue or whatever, what you would do actually to get around that, it's only something small. It doesn't need to be anything complicated or complex. And that's the point of the whole of this qualification that some of the others seem to have missed. I don't want to see at any stage loads of citations for stuff you've researched. I don't want to know about that at all. I'm not interested in it. I want to know what you do with your learners in that situation. And it's just a narrative, really. And that's what you'll need to do with this. Again, select 2 learners, collate the copies of assessment methods used and the records that you produce with them. Use your narrative then to merely explain how and why you meet these criteria. Yeah.
The ones on the side?
Eh?
The criteria on the 1.1, yeah?
Yeah. 1.2, 1.3. And that's the bit that I'm putting in here. This is suggested evidence on here.
Okay.
Suggested. All you need to do is really put a narrative together that covers 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and the information that you've used to actually produce that. Yeah. That's your evidence.
Right.
LO2, again, it's managed assessment, vocational skills to meet assessment. So it will be an explanation of how the assessment went and any changes you had to make. There's your learner, for your learner with an issue, Show the recorded assessment decisions and why you made, and explain why you made them. That's analyse your evidence of learner achievement, and then provide feedback to the learner and show where you've provided feedback on their progress or achievement. Yeah.
Okay. So if one of our learners doesn't have a problem, we can say, we could pick a problem
up.
and then just work around that, couldn't we?
That's what I put here. You choose.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry.
You choose. You choose. Again, you know, it's unless you're working with groups that have got a particular issue, like SEND or something of that nature, then you'd be pushed to actually find that information. But if you decide on something, then you can explain how you would deal, how you have dealt with it, not how you would deal with it, but how you have dealt with it because you've put one in. So again, 2.1, an explanation about the assessment went, etc. So you've provided feedback on the progress or achievement. Make assessment information available to authorised colleagues. Explain your process for IQA sampling. Explain why your school or college holds data within the meaning of the Act. Data protection, This is why, that's a point on that as well. You could include that. The reason you have to put learner A and B and not put your learners' actual names in is for that particular reason. Unless you actually seek and got signed permission that you can use the name on there, then it would contravene that if you didn't do that. And of course, the easiest way is just to put learner A and B. Learner objective 4 is an evaluation of your own work in carrying out the assessment. Statement about your school operates assessment and what you think. Reflect on your own actions. Could you improve your process and practice, and how? And then finally, some CPD records. I think you've got some, actually. I'll have a look and I'll send them to you. I did a sheet with everybody's CPD on it somewhere, and I'll send that through. But again, it's records of your registration for this qualification. And any other prior achievement qualifications that you've done as well, you can show on there where you've completed those. Now at the bottom, in where I put the feedback box, I've just written basically what I've said here. Assessment guidance. The aim of the unit is to access candidate assessor's performance. That's you, candidate assessor, in assessing vocational skills in environments other than the workplace. For example, workshops, classrooms, or training environments. There must be evidence to cover all the assessment methods listed in the units that you're going to assess. As a minimum, there should be performance evidence for at least 3 of the following methods: assessment of learners' skills tests, assignments, projects, reports, case studies, recognition of prior learning. Evidence must come from the assessor candidate's performance in the work environment. There must be evidence of the candidate monitoring. A minimum of 2 candidates for a qualification being taught and delivered. Actions to achieve: use your existing records that you put together as evidence for this practical unit. Use narrative to link the explanations needed to meet the ACs. And LO4 will require a reflection on your practice from yourself. Basically, it's something that you do automatically. If you've run a session and you'll think back on that session and you'll think, I didn't need to have done such and such a thing, or that was a bit unnecessary, or I could have done this instead. You do that automatically as a teacher when every time you've run particularly a new course. Old ones, you've got to make sure that you're fulfilling the requirements all the time and not not gloss over things because you're used to doing it, sort of thing. So that's unit 3 in a nutshell. It's a gathering of evidence of you as an assessor working with 2 students on either a different unit or a different qualification, but a minimum of a different unit, that's all. And you'll need an assessment plan, an agreement. You'll need to cover any prior learning they've done. You'll need to cover everything in there with the plan of what you're going to assess, how you're going to assess it, and when you're going to assess it. Now, to give you a bit more background, if you were assessing, let's say, not in a classroom, if you were assessing online, or if you were assessing in the workplace, you would have to make sure that everybody else that was going to be involved in that assessment knew about it and when it was going to take place. So if it, certainly if it's in the workplace, the supervisor of the person who were going to assess, whether you were taking them into a room to do a test or whether you were going to observe them on a job, the same thing applies. People there would have to be notified to make sure that everybody knew exactly what was happening and when. It all depends on, certainly when you're assessing out in the workplace, it depends on what you've got to do and where you've got to do it. And then you've got to decide who you need to let know about that and make sure they're aware of what you're going to do. So that's a bit on that. Again, showing the resources you've prepared and the conditions for the assessment of any skilled knowledge and understanding. That, again, you'll decide on your plan what the resources are going to be. Yeah. Did I put an assessment plan on here?
An assessment plan that I've done, and the one that it doesn't, it says resources at the bottom. It does, yeah. It says resources.
Yeah, I know it's on that one. This is if you've not got a feedback form, if you weren't working with us and you didn't have a feedback sheet like we have, there is a feedback sheet on here that anybody can use. Yeah, it's just shows that formative feedback before the work's complete, and then summative feedback when it's complete, and you can put on there. And again, you've chosen your students now and what you're going to do with them, but it doesn't really matter whether they pass or whether they fail. The influence is on your assessment, and so the actual work and whether it's achieved or it hasn't achieved is hardly relevant in this case, but your feedback would be different, that's all. Okay. Close that again. Back down. Now this is something that NCFE use. I don't often use it because we have a different way of recording who's done what, yeah, and when. But then there is a template for learner evidence tracking log that says what they can do, what they've done to show it, the location of the evidence, where it is, and that's no longer because we don't have a portfolio anymore. Well, we have an electronic one, yeah, but you can, and this is why, if you remember this afternoon, I said to you, the evidence needs to be numbered, yeah, and it needs to be identified as which learner it is. So it'll be learner A, evidence A 1, 2, 3, or document 1, or appendix. Yeah. You can call it what you like, really. And then learner 2, it will be learner B. It will be evidence 1, 2, 3, etc. So that you've got the evidence together. And it's just a form that they actually use because it's got IQA, EQA sampling there if it's been done. So it's just another form that's on there if you needed to use it. Obviously, we get some learners on that are not working with us, that are actually, students with us. And of course, they may not have all the documentation that we've got. So, they would have to then find something else if they've not got anything at the school or college they're at. Because what I always say is to anybody in that position, use the ones you've got, the ones that you use in your situation, because if they've been put in place by your college or school, they will meet the standards, so there wouldn't be a problem with it. Yeah. So, have you got any further questions? Is there anything you?
I've got a million questions, but I've forgotten what I'm going to ask you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get on with this, and I've amended the assessment plan for learner A, and also the feedback sheet. I've put one learning outcome in it, and I've also done it for learner B. And then I just need to put the brief together where they've actually done it, you know, that bit to show that they've done it. And then I can follow that through learning outcome 1. I can do 1.1, 1.2, and then a narrative around it, can't I? And then
well, you've just said your narrative now to me.
Yeah, I know, but you know, when it comes to doing it, I end up forgetting. It's old age, sorry. Old age kicked in for me.
Old age, you think so when you get my age?
My age. So I'm kind of, because at the same time, I'm kind of doing a lot of stuff at work as well, marking and things. So my mind's a bit, but I want to get this done in the next couple of weeks, because I want to get, I think I'm halfway there with the stuff. I just need to get it done so I can get it sent to you. And then,
well, I'm only until Wednesday next week. After that, I'm away for a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
so,
no, but I was okay with the first, you know, unit 1 was straightforward, but a lot of the stuff in unit 1 you can use for this as well.
This is it.
Yeah.
And the bit about the reasoning behind this, I think I probably should do a session that covers both AET and assessment, because I've set the AET up because that's 3 units.
Yeah.
But the 3rd unit I've chosen is 6.
All right.
And it's about assessment.
Yeah.
It's assessment. And the evidence you produce for unit 3 on this one will suffice for unit 6 on the AET.
Okay.
Because it's almost identical. That's why I chose unit 6 for everybody doing it, because it then makes it straightforward. You can just cross-reference the evidence or just use the same evidence. Doesn't really matter. Yeah. Because again, literally all you need to do, the main work is putting your evidence together and organising it so that you understand it and you've got it in your head. Once you've done that, the narrative is then straightforward, because you've got your evidence. And when you in it, and this is why another reason you need to number it as well, because then you can put on C evidence 3 learner A.
Yeah.
And evidence 6 learner B that covers that particular thing.
But when I'm doing the narrative, I can refer to learner A and B in that as well, can't I? Saying that that learner
just refer to them as A and B. And if you're bringing forward a piece or mentioning a piece of evidence, a document, then you can just say C document 3 or whatever you've called it, appendix or whatever. Yeah.
And when I look at the narrative for one learner, I can identify that the resources I'd use in regards to the learner being maybe having a hearing impairment or something, or
exactly. Well, you, like I said, you choose. But I must emphasise, and this is why I said I could probably do with one doing for the 2, that both these qualifications are not an academic exercise. That's why I've had to put on a couple of people who sent work in with loads of references on, and I've sent it back saying, no, I'm sorry, I don't want to know how it's done, I want to know how you do it. And that's the bit that seems to be tripping people up. And I think once you've got your head around that, all you're doing really, for somebody with the experience you've got in assessment now, you know what you're doing, you know what the assessment process is about and how it operates. And it's a matter of just gathering the evidence you've already got. And then explaining what that evidence is and why and how it meets these criteria.
It's mainly in the first person, isn't it? I will do this, I will get these resources, I will do that, I will accommodate the person by maybe getting a separate room for them and things like that, isn't it?
Well, but you don't need to even put the warden can. You can put, because you've chosen a learner with a problem, you can put what you actually do. You don't say you would do, you can just put, for this reason, I took this learner into a separate room where we could use a signer or whatever it is. You can write it as though it's happening rather than what you would do if it occurred, sort of thing. So maintain first person all the time. I did this because, and I
Yeah.
use that evidence to do
Yeah.
this, this, and this, which meets the criteria because it shows the methods that you've used to assess on that particular piece of evidence against the criteria with the work that the learner's produced. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'll be okay. I think I'll have to start it, and then I think I'll be okay, and then I'll just send you stuff.
What you could do is start your narrative on just cover LO1.
Yeah.
And refer to the evidence you've developed for it, and then send it to me.
Excellent, thank
I'll have
you.
a look, and then go, yeah, that's fine. Or what we'll do is such and such a thing. Yeah, I'll just make some suggestions if it's needed. If it's not, I'll just say, great, that's fine. Carry on.
Thank you. That's been really helpful, actually, because my mind was everywhere, to be honest.
On the bottom of here.
Yeah.
That bit on the bottom of there really tells you what you need to do. Yeah.
The assessment guidance.
Yeah. What I did when I was doing when I do self-reflection, quite often I will do one of those charts like SWOT or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But if it's for something like this, I would just explain how I thought the assessment went, what went wrong, if there was anything that did go wrong, what I could have improved, stuff like that, just put together, just, though you were telling me about it. Yeah. Okay. Is that for here, or is he just?
I don't know if he's on.
No, that's the name of the account.
Sorry.
Yeah. Have you got any questions, Victor?
No, it's okay.
Have you started yours, Victor?
No, I've not had the time. I'm always full time, so.
Yeah, I was okay with Unit 1. I flew through that. I think I did all right on that because I didn't get that much. I
only gave you one back, I think.
Yeah, I think I did okay with that. It's this one, trying to get my head around it, because I've not been well. I've had a really bad chest infection again, so I've not been well, but I've just trying to get my head around it and doing it. I think I'm okay now, which has been really helpful, Phil. And it's just kind of.
I said to Adenike came on, don't overthink it.
Yeah,
it's more straightforward than you think it is. It's not complicated. It's merely just explaining what you do.
Yeah, I think that's sometimes quite hard as well, isn't it? To kind of put things into perspective, that you're kind of doing this job, but how do you put it on paper as well? Because you could do it with your eyes closed.
That's why you gather the evidence. The evidence then points you to what you need to say. Yeah. Because you've got to explain why you've gathered that evidence.
Yes.
Excellent. And why it meets the standard. Yeah. Or not.
Oh, thank you for that. That's been really helpful, actually, because I can start doing some stuff then.
Yeah. And it's the same with Victor, with Unit 1, with the tasks. Don't just use the material that's on here on Moodle for it, because there's enough to give you. What I generally say to you to do is go through the material on here and make notes.
Yeah.
Once you've made your notes, then when it comes to answering the questions, you can then just write it in your own words.
Yeah.
Because that's the whole point of it. It's got to be your perspective of what's happening and what you think about those things, not what somebody else has written about it.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in that. They can write to the kingdom come. I want to know what you know about it and what you think about it. Yeah.
So I've completed Unit 1, though, haven't I? I've just got to do Unit 3 now.
Unit 1. Well, I've given you your assessment sheet on that. Yeah. Thought that.
So it's just Unit 3 to do. Thank you for that, Phil.
Have you any concern with Unit 1, Victor?
No.
You okay?
Yeah.
Sound. You know what I am if you need me. I'm at the end of the email. And I'll be in Thursday and Friday this week anyway, Victor. I'll see you later on this week. Yeah.
And I'll be pestering you if I get stuck.
No, okay. Well, if that's all, guys, I
Thank
will
you.
thank you for
Thanks a
attending.
lot. Thank
And,
you.
Thank you.
Speak to you
Thank you
again.
for the
Bye
session.
now,
Thank you.
everyone.
See you later, Victor.
Okay. See you.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye now.